Dr. Arti Thangudu is a triple board certified in endocrinology, diabetes, and thyroid specialist and lifestyle medicine. You were named the Texas Rising Star and Texas Monthly over the summer. You've been featured in the media and Healthline, San Antonio Express News, San Antonio Scene, San Antonio Woman Connect, MedPage Today. I applaud you. We applaud you for all of the education that you're giving people. It is a direct care model that you have with your patients, right? Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that is and how that affects the way that you are able to interact with your patients?
Yeah, so direct care it's a membership-based practice, and with this practice, we're able to do several things that I think enhance the doctor-patient relationship and the patient experience. One, I don't see nearly as many patients as I used to in my old practice. I used to see 30 patients a day or more. And so in my practice, I have much fewer patients. They have much longer visits. My initial consultation is 60 minutes, one-on-one with me. To me, my patients are all VIPs, whether I'm seeing 1,000 patients, 100 patients, and I think that your time is valuable. And I hated so much that my patients would come to see me in my old clinic. I would be in my office at 8 o'clock. The patient would be scheduled for 8 o'clock. The patient would be in the waiting room at 8 o'clock. But there was so much in between that they would come into my office at 10 a.m.
Wow.
And it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of their time. And I just think that there's so many broken points in the system that make that the case. But people need convenience. I mean, people have jobs and lives. People can't always take off a half day or a whole day to come see their endocrinologist. With COVID, we've been doing a lot of telemedicine, even for initial consults, but we have always had the option of doing virtual visits, phone visits. I call my patients with their labs. I send them their labs in a timely way. I've heard from friends that they see their primary care doctor and they don't even get, even if their labs are abnormal, they won't hear from the doctor. And I'm just like, what is that? Why are we even ordering the labs if we're not assessing them for our patients? What's the point of any of that? It gives me the opportunity to know my patients, engage with them, have a relationship with them, be their cheerleader, be their support system, and answer questions that they have. Because we all know this. You go to the doctor, you're in there for 15 minutes, and then you walk out the door, and then you have 20 questions, right? Mm-hmm. That's when all the questions come flooding in. Or you're laying in bed in the middle of the night and you have questions. So I really love that my patients can email me or text me or call me if anything comes up, so they don't have either a 20-page long list of questions at their next visit, or at least we get to address it. I also had a problem in my last clinic that, multiple patients, they'd be like, I didn't get my medication because my insurance didn't cover it. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't communicate with me between their visits. So we lost 3 months in their diabetes care where the patient didn't even get to try the new therapy. Whereas now my patient would just text me and say, hey doc, I'm having some issues. I call the rep and then take care of it, fix it. Or write a different prescription or something. There's so many things as physicians that we can do, but there's also so many barriers to us delivering that kind of care in the traditional system. And so this system, especially with diabetes, metabolic disease, thyroid disease, these are patients who need support. It's not just like they came in for a sore throat, they need antibiotics and they're done, or they came in for an eye exam and you did it and they're done. These are chronic diseases they're dealing with all the time, and I really felt like I wanted to be the type of doctor that could support my patients through that, and direct care has enabled me to do that. So I thought, gosh, these patients are paying $250 or $450 to see me with insurance. What if we just forgot about the insurance thing and I could help them in other ways, like with labs and better service? Because in a traditional practice, they're paying that much for a 10-minute visit. And that's not very good value. And with all the inconveniences of not being able to get through to your doctor, not being able to get an appointment in a timely fashion, I think my I think the average endocrinologist in San Antonio has a 3-month wait time to get into.
So not only does the care end with the patient, you then have to wait 3 months to follow back up with that patient in the traditional care.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that preventative?
It's not. We can probably charge the same amount as this model, or maybe even less, and provide much more value if we're not using this system. So that's what I did. And it seems like people like it. So.
Yeah.
So I am, through all of this, I have just, to be quite honest, been totally disgusted with the lack of transparency in medical care. And I've had some personal experiences and many patient experiences. What I mean by lack of transparency is when you go to your doctor's office, you have no idea how much you're going to pay, right? Like, until they've done all the things to you, they've drawn your labs, they've done a procedure, and then you show up at the front desk, they give you a bill, you pay it. You didn't know what it was going to be before you started all of that. You didn't have the option to say, yes, I want that procedure, no, I don't want that procedure. And then worse, 3 months later, you get another bill from that same visit, and then 6 months later, you get another bill, and then a year later, you get another bill, and it's like, okay, how much did I even spend? And so I have patients who tell me that they were spending $2,000 every 3 to 6 months on blood work. And it's not that expensive, guys. It's not that expensive. The only reason that it is that expensive is because nobody knows what it should cost. My brother is a doctor. I asked him what his health insurance premium was, and he told me half of what his premium actually was. And then his wife later, who's a financial person, was like, that's not your premium. And your premium is twice that because you pay it with every paycheck. And so people are so uneducated about what they're paying for healthcare. There are people who are taking advantage of that. A lot of people are making a lot of money off people's lack of education and doctors' lack of education. I promise you, go ask 10 doctors out there what their patients pay when they order a test on them. None of them will know. None of them. And I don't think that's ethical. Not every patient can afford to spend $1,000 on an MRI. And maybe you could get the same information by doing something less expensive. And so once I started learning more about this, it just kind of set me on fire. I was like, this is absolute nonsense, and it's robbery. That's how I got involved with the FMMA. That was just the pricing transparency and the improved quality of care you can provide to patients when you are in a medical free market is life-changing for physicians and patients. Patients especially, gosh, they benefit so much.